Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Wednesday, March 20th, 2019 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi. Happy Astrological New Year, and our energy mantra for today is I am is how I've come to know myself. And today we launch Aries energy. We shift into Sun in Aries. That will happen at 2:58 p.m. Pacific time. So up until then, we're not quite there with the astrological New Year. It's not like, oh, it hits midnight, Happy New Year kind of thing. It's like it hits 2:58 p.m. Pacific time and it's Happy New Year. But this is the beginning of the new astrological cycle. Welcome to spring in the Northern Hemisphere and happy fall in Southern Hemisphere and happy full moon. What a major super full moon, 0-degree energy, which has some major push behind it that we're going to look at. But we have a very packed morning of some really strong aspects that we want to look at as we build into the full moon. Now, I mentioned some of this stuff yesterday, but this is really important as we finish up the cycle. What we need to know is until basically 3 p.m. Pacific time, we are finishing up this Pisces cycle. And the Pisces cycle takes us out of the year, you know? So it's like anything that's in this year that needs to be finished up, that's the job of today. 29 degrees. It's also, hey, have you learned your lessons? Have you mastered your lessons from the last 12 months, from this last cycle? Pisces, this final degree, can encompass anything. So be very aware of that. We have the moon in Virgo. Now, moon in Virgo is so interesting because Virgo is the sign that is opposite Pisces. And so anytime we have an opposition, there can be similarities and they can work together, but there can also be that pull where there's like a tug of war this way or that. Virgo can be so realistic. And not to say there's anything wrong with that, because we are in a material world and we are material girls. I don't know. We're in this, on this dimension, in this plane. And yet we cannot forget the Pisces energy, the esoteric, the spiritual. And that's the push and pull with Virgo, is realizing, opening up the mind beyond the what could be limited Virgo perspective to the esoteric, to the unseen, to the things that are not realistic, but are there regardless. So be very aware of that pull going on. And we have Mercury in Pisces interacting with that moon today. And so it might be a bit of a mental game that's happening to you. Now, beyond the mental game, this is right, this is wrong, I should choose this, I shouldn't choose that. Go into the lesson. The lesson is always such a good elixir. Okay, what is my lesson in this? Is my lesson to be present with myself right now, which is always a really good lesson? Is my lesson to open up to the unknown a little bit more right now, which is, again, a really good lesson? Is my lesson to be still and listen? Whoa, again, a really good lesson to have there. A really good listen. So be very present for that energy. Now, this also could give you some nice downloads and possibly some nice closure, especially if you have been dealing with a lot of karmic energies. And that's one of the things I'm really getting, especially as we have Mercury and Saturn also connecting with the moon, that this might be a nice day for closure. Because it's a full moon, full moons are so powerful. Full moons are so great at helping us release. It is also a completion of a cycle that began with the Libra new moon about 6 months ago, last September, October, I didn't look up the date, but it finishes that 6-month cycle. So we're here in this level of completion for a year, and a level of completion of these 6 months, and a completion of a month cycle. So we have, all these various levels of things that are completing, not to mention the Pisces energy. So today could be a good day, like, I release this with my blessing. I complete this. I thank you for the lesson. It is released. Thank you. That's always so powerful with the full moon, even as you utilize the energy to also focus on what it is you do want. Look at these two cards. Look at these cards together. the creator. You realizing that you are the creator of your life as your I am energy. Letting go of this past. Yes. Oh my gosh, this year had a lot going on in it. But what is the new vision? So it's releasing this stuff. Forgiving it. Being like, okay, it happened. Thank you for the lessons. I release you so that you can fully reach into the light within, the light without. So really strong energy. Another thing that we have going on before we even hit the full moon is we have a grand trine in Earth happening. So the grand trine in Earth, it's very grounding. It can, again, focus us on the realistic. Again, we still want to hold space, though, for that Pisces energy. We have Mars and Pluto trining each other, 22 degrees. So if you have power plays going on outside you, if you have power games going on inside you, because remember, at the same time, Mars is squaring Venus. We reach the peak of that square tomorrow. So you may feel some power games. There may be some manipulation stuff going on. This is where you may need to go into that higher perspective so you don't get reactive, so you can see the truth of the matter and not fall into the politics. You know, so often we get so sucked in by something that seems realistic. You know, it seems like a good idea. Well, that makes sense. It's logical. And yet something inside of us is screaming, no, don't do it. That's part of this mastery. Listen to that inward screaming that's telling you that. Take back your power from the logical, from the realistic, into what is true for you. This, again, is how you step into that creator energy. The moon, especially as it builds into this full moon, it could have something hidden there. That's one of the tricky tricks of the moon energy, is that it can reveal hidden things. And as it connects with that Mars energy and the Pluto energy, I think so often we can also be tricked when we really, really, really want something. Be very aware of the desire. Be impeccable with your desire, but don't get tricked by it and don't get sucked into power games. Okay, let's go into this full moon energy. So we have the sun shift into Aries, like I said, 2:58 p.m. Pacific time. Happy New Year. Happy new cycle. And then we have the moon shift into Libra for the full moon at 6:28 p.m. Pacific time. The full moon reaches its peak at 6:43 p.m. Pacific time. So the sun and the moon opposite. Moon in Libra representing the we. Sun in Aries. Oh my gosh. Now, something important to look at for this is that there's definitely some strong healing energy that is thrown in with this full moon energy. We have the sun at 0 degrees and Chiron right there at 1 degree. So Chiron at 1 degree Aries is very activated in this energy. Now, what I'm really feeling is definitely the relationship thing. And I actually pulled it. It was just like, just give me one card for this new year and for this moon that's kicking off the new year. And I got the friendliness card. And I love this because this is a card of beginning relationships, budding relationships that are happening. This could potentially be very healing for relationships, especially if you can address some of the things that I brought to light earlier. You know, some of the politicking that may be going on. This can be very healthy for relationships, especially if you're willing to start with that Aries energy, with Sun and Chiron in Aries. Sun at 0 degrees. 0 degrees is the degree of transformation. So you can go full circle through this next cycle with who you are to really know yourself, on that soul level. Chiron in Aries. So many different things that goes into, and I went into all that before, so I'm not going to dig into it too deep, but it's healing energy of the self, healing the I am, healing yourself on that soul level, knowing yourself on that soul level, instead of all of the masks that we have picked up and put on over the years. So we have that lighting up the Aries energy. Then we have the we. Full moon in Libra representing the we energy, representing relationships. Now, first and foremost, there's the relationship we have with ourselves. Do you have a friendly relationship with yourself? How is your yin and yang balanced? That's something really good to look at through this, as we have tomorrow on Thursday, Venus and Mars reach their square, the peak of that square. So our inner yin and yang may be off balance. And if you're feeling any discomfort in outside relationships, that's the number one place to look. How am I doing with my yin and yang energies? How am I doing with knowing my worth? How am I doing with listening to that quiet voice that's saying, no, not that? How am I doing with taking that aligned action? How am I doing with allowing my hidden gifts and talents and these things that I've judged myself for? How am I doing bringing that up? This moon addresses all of that. The moon is like, you got to know yourself and you've got to step back into your power. The relationship starts here. You may have that reflection outside of you. Friends, family, lover, coworkers, neighbor, anyone, your pet, any one of those can be a really nice mirror in your face, but bring it back to you. The other way to look at it too is also bring it back to your relationship that you have with the universe, God, universe. Where are you in with that? Where are you connected to spirit? Are you listening to that? This is a time to check in with all of those relationships and find your balance to help you find your personal power. Now, one last thing that I want to remind you of in regards to these cards. Libra. True story. One of the best and biggest Libra lessons there is do not sacrifice your inner harmony for making it look harmonious out there. It may look okay out there, but if you are playing the politics game, chances are at some point the volcano is going to come out. You're going to blow. And that's not breeding peace and harmony and all the things that Libra stands for. So find that harmony, find that balance within. This full moon's a really great time to set intention for that, to be vigilant about that for yourself, to utilize that 0-degree energy as transformational, as empowering for you to step into that level of relationship with yourself. So I think that's good for this full moon. Happy full moon. Do realize that with a full moon, all emotions are brought up to the surface, and it's good because that will show us where we're not in harmony with ourselves and what we can do to bring that back in. So be very aware of that which comes up for you. Come join my astrology class. It will be beginning in Aries. We will start after Mercury goes direct. We got about 1 more week of that. So after that, so there's time. Come join my group on Facebook if you would like more information for that. Besides that, you can always book a reading with me. And happy full moon. The better it gets, the better it gets. You have the power. You have the power. And there's more than enough love in the world for you. Namaste.